Happy Friday evening, troops. The weekend's here. Welcome to the latest edition of the Endless Celts Podcast. Wally's taking the hosting chair today, giving Stephen a wee break, but don't worry, if you're wanting your weekly Stephen fix, he's still here tonight. He's looking forward to being on the other side, and I'm sure he's going to vent his frustrations about last night's results. How are we doing, Stephen?
All good, man. I mean, that Storm Eunice is wreaking havoc across the UK, and it's much like our performance last night. It was just havoc and disasters at points, but we're going to get stuck right into it. Well, I'm glad to be on as a guest this time.
We'll definitely be getting stuck in. I'm sure there's going to be lots to talk about tonight. And we've got Franny coming back from his layoff, doing daddy duties, so he's making his live debut tonight. How's first of all, how's the wee one, and how are you looking forward to the night and making your debut live?
The wee one's good. Well, it's just, as we were discussing off air, I'm back to just being tired and the washing machine being on 24/7. So back from my paternity leave and ready to talk Celtic.
Definitely. Evening, Jed. I hope you've got a pint in your hand and you're enjoying the show tonight. Let's get stuck into the game last night. Obviously, a disappointing result. I want to come to you first, Stephen. I want to ask you do you think we underestimated Bodo a bit? I mean, they're in the pre-season pretty much. They've not played in a month, I think it was. Lost a couple of key players. Do you think that we've turned up last night and just expected to win?
I don't think the team would have turned up, William, and expected to win, nor Postecoglou. But what did creep in for me among supporters was complacency in terms of underestimate what Bodo Glimt can offer. I mean, yes, they're in their pre-season, 2 months, but they've had 2 months to study how we play. They've been over in, I think, Spain doing their pre-season camp. They've had a couple of games called off, but they've also played recently in a couple of pre-season friendlies. And we've been in that position ourselves when you have to do your pre-season and bang you're straight into the European qualifier. We've done that countless years, and we know how it feels. We know what position you're in. Bodo Glimt, to me, they were a solid team. They played really well. Their coach is one of the most respected young coaches in European football. There's nothing to underestimate about them. I mean, back-to-back Norwegian champions. Stop laughing, William. Back-to-back Norwegian champions. They beat Roma 6-0. They went back over to the Stadio Olimpico and got a 2-each draw. So, from a Celtic point of view, in terms of the team in Postecoglou, I don't believe that they went in thinking it would be a walkover.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I just feel like just because we've been flying so much recently, do you think that...
That's a very Rangersy one.
I thought the flute was coming out shortly. Same to you, Franny. I just feel like because we've been flying so much now and like we've been looking unbeatable, do you think that we just underestimated them a bit coming into the game, or?
I'm similar to Stephen. I think it was maybe more the fans, myself included. I think, not saying it was going to be a walkover and stuff, but it's fairly confident because, like you said, for the last few months, and especially since the turn of the year after the winter break, we've been absolutely flying. Just really great first 45 minutes. We're usually blowing teams out the water and stuff. So I think a lot of the fans looked at Bodo Glimt hadn't played for a month essentially, or 6 weeks because of their season finishing, lost in key players. But I think what last night showed us, if anything, that if you know anything about football, you could see Bodo Glimt are a team with an identity. They've lost key players and various players, but they know how to replace these players, and they don't seem to be a major drop-off. I think Bodo Glimt are a sign of what I think we're trying to be. Like we're a wee well away from it, but I think that's what Postecoglou and Celtic are maybe trying to aim at, is where a couple of years down the line, say we lost some key players, you'll not really notice a major drop-off in the team. It will just be a new player will come in that will just seem seamless. So I think I've seen a lot online, a lot of hysteria over it, and I just think it's a lot of folk underestimated Bodo Glimt, and then just one result, and I think the Rangers result was a big key factor last night, and a lot of folks actually I think they've just focused on that result and just forgot everything that's happened the last sort of a couple of months, like the last 16, 17 games for Postecoglou. It's like we've lost one game in, about 17, 18 games. And if you see online, it's an absolute disaster in some folks' eyes.
Definitely, mate. Loads of good points there, Franny. I agree. I think Franny made a good point there as well. The first half, we usually come flying out the traps, and that's when we've been putting games to bed in the first half hour. That didn't happen last night, obviously. It was actually the opposite, Stephen. So just a wee brief summary. What do you think about the performance in general and the first half especially? Because, like I say, that's when we've been our bread and butter. We've been absolutely flying out the traps, and it just didn't seem that it just couldn't get going last night.
Honest opinion, I thought we were absolutely woeful. To be fair, I mean, the first half in European football, we've come out the traps flying, and every game we played at Parkhead, the turn of the year, the Rangers game, the prime example of that, we absolutely destroyed them in the first 45 minutes. There was just something off last night from the get-go. I think that the way with the complacency among fans, thinking Bodo Glimt would be a walkover. Some of us on the podcast thought that as well, for honest, but you looked at the team lineup. I thought the pressing was off. I thought Maeda was pressing at times. Jalla wasn't following him. There was gaps behind him. Rodzik and O'Reilly, I mean, from that game that they should be playing together, it should be one or the other, like the likes of Turnbull as well. I thought Rodzik's trying to press, it was soul destroying sometimes because he doesn't have that pace, because he's not that type of player. O'Reilly, fair to play him, did have a great half. I thought he played some good balls inside. He was looking for the forward balls. I mean, as Anne said during the weekend, don't be passing back. He certainly took that on board. I mean, you could go through the whole team. Taylor, do you remember that there guy, Mobile Carlson, that played for the European club? I think it was Cluj, and he destroyed Shane Duffy. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt watching Greg Taylor getting absolutely mauled for their second goal, I believe. Just gave me that type of vibe. The whole team just seemed disjointed. The second half, the changes really came quicker. I don't understand from the get-go why Hatate was dropped, because he's been on fire. He's been like the linchpin in the midfield, along with McGregor, and then O'Reilly when he came in. I know as a summary, so I'm going to let you come on to the players, but overall, William, I think in terms of European result, and we class ourselves as a big European team, it was absolutely horrendous for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree it wasn't the best result, but like for me, I thought we were okay going forward. It's just that final pass or that finish. We had a lot of players that were off. I think we can all agree that like the likes of Jota and Abada, that wasn't their best game in the Celtic shirt. But you've got to give props to Bodo as well. I thought they came out and played us their own game and pressed us well, and the one-touch passing was great. What do you think, Franny?
I'm much like you, William. I thought we were good in spells, and like I say, it was just that final third, that killer pass. We just didn't seem to have it. Jota and Abada were off. It was like Jota was trying too hard at times. I felt it just nothing really was coming off him. I just felt for a lot of the players, it was just one of the nights where it never happened for the majority of the team. There was some poor performers, like say Rogic's a key player, a really good player. It just had a really poor game. If we're honest, Taylor, who I have in the past not been a big fan of, but he's been turning him around lately. I thought going forward he was okay, but unfortunately the defending side he struggled a wee bit. But it was just, for me, it was just a game where Bodo Glimt played really well and we never. And it would just at this level, and it might be the third tier European competition and stuff, but you still get good teams at this stage in any European competition. It was just they were on their game and we weren't, and it was just we got punished for it.
Yeah, I agree. Sean makes a great point there. Even as Sean O'Reilly was looked up for it in the first half, I thought he was excellent. For me, Kalmak as well. I thought Kalmak, but the only problem with Kalmak was everything he was doing was defensive. It was harrying players and winning the ball back, and we couldn't implement that going forward. So we all, on this podcast, and pretty much 100% of the fan base have got to, we all love Ange. And I think last night, for what I've seen, it's the first kind of, I don't know what the word I'm trying to find is, not disagreement, but the team selection going into the match, more notably Big Giacomakis, who's been excellent. We've been ranting for him for the last 6 weeks about how his work rate's been brilliant, and he's been working for a team up there. And Bodo, by all accounts, seem like they're a big, strong physical side. Hatate in the midfield obviously was missing as well. So is this, in this game, Stephen, do you think, did Ange get it wrong with his lineup going into it? I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I mean, looking at it on paper now, do you think that he's maybe made a mistake there with the team lineup and the personnel?
I think Ange has probably woke up this morning with a wonderful bout of hindsight, looking back in that lineup. I mean, we can't disagree with Ange. We can criticise Ange Postecoglou when things do go wrong. Although he's done everything amazingly well this year at Celtic, as always, we'll have to call it out. I mean, the Hatate one for me, William, was the most baffling one because he's been absolutely excellent since he's joined Celtic, and I don't see the opportunity of Bodo Glimt to rest him. He should have done that in the previous game at Raith Rovers. Giamakis, I mean, we can't really say much about Mieta because he did get the goal, to be fair, so he done his job. Giamakis probably would have offered a different type of dimension up front. Could have held the ball up for us, got us out of pressure, held the ball up, win free kicks, which we didn't really do that at all last night. I'm trying to think. You look back as well, Greg Taylor situation. I know what he used to like Greg Taylor, and I do as well. You looked at Liam Scales. I've seen lots of Irish fans that I know, and on Twitter, they're baffled how Greg Taylor gets ahead of him. But we haven't seen much of Scales to even determine should he be ahead of him. I just thought he had a really poor game. A Bodo situation, he just was off the boil last night. The front six, I mean, it baffled me. It really infuriated me watching them press because you knew what they were trying to do, but the front six were just too slow as a unit. They weren't getting close to their man. O'Reilly and Rodzik were doing the same job, leaving gaps in the middle of the park. Cal McGregor, as you said, was doing the donkey work. He was doing the defensive work instead of playing key balls up front. He was tracking back, winning balls at the literally 16-yard line. And for me, on the lineup personnel, he definitely got it wrong. In my opinion, it just disjointed the team a bit too much.
I think you made a great point about Hatate, especially. I think that bit of steel in midfield, and as much as Kalmax, he's so good at harrying players and stuff like that. He's obviously still a wee bit lightweight, and I think Hatate's a bit more suited to that in midfield. I'm not saying he should be a sitting midfielder or a number 6, but just a bit. And I don't think we've got that in O'Reilly and Rogic, although Rogic does show up a body strength. So, and the Giacomakis one, I just feel like he might have gave you a wee bit more up front as well. I mean, we were discussing it before the game yesterday in the group chat and stuff, Franny. But what do you think? Do you think he's got it wrong? Would you have went with Giacomakis? I know, again, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But
like we said, we were surprised in Giacomakis not starting because Boyd, he had been putting in really good performances, then also got his goal, albeit against Raith Rovers at the weekend, but he's seen what it meant to him and stuff. And in Europe this season, when Giacomakis featured, he has looked impressive. But like Stephen said, Maeda was making really good runs. We just weren't great in the final third, picking him out. He did eventually get his goal. So it's saying us starting Giacomakis is not a criticism of Maeda, because in a sense Maeda never done a lot wrong. But I think when you look at that, the sheer size of the players for Bodo Glimt, I think Giacomakis would have been a better option to start the game, I think. And then, because when we were maybe struggling to get out as such, playing the quick sharp passing, you maybe could have went long and just bypassed the midfield and got him to hold it up and played off second balls, just try something different. And yeah, probably would have started, again, obviously we're talking hindsight, Hatate in the middle of the park. I think a Rogic and O'Reilly will work against, for argument's sake, Dundee at the weekend at home. You'll get away with that every day of the week, and twice on a Sunday getting away with it, doing that. But I just think, in Europe it would, just seeing it last night, we're obviously talking the benefit of hindsight. I think Hatate was there, he probably should have rested him maybe against Raith Rovers and stuff, and maybe could rest him on Sunday. I know like the Japanese guys have played pretty much a full season without getting a break, and they're into another sort of a half campaign for us, so he was maybe trying to rest him for that game, but it's probably just picked the wrong game. I think Ange will be internally saying he's got it wrong, but he'll not be saying it because, as we've said, he's not one to call out his own players and stuff. He'll say he's not happy and things like that, but he's not one for sort of saying, this was what I shouldn't have picked him, I should have picked him, and that, which is not really good man management. But yeah, I think with the benefit of hindsight, I say the benefit of hindsight because we don't really know if Hatate and Giacomakis started, what would have happened. But I think it would have been a better perform, a more balanced team.
I think it's difficult. We'll go on to it later on as well. But I mean, we didn't lose because Maeda and O'Reilly that came in didn't turn up. It was a full. The team was a poor performance. So I think to dig out Ange is a wee bit harsh, but I can tell they might have made a difference. But Franny, I'm really glad you mentioned O'Reilly and Roberts, because you bring me right on to my next point. I'm actually going to come straight back to you, because you said that you can play them in the league. I'm going to go to Stephen as well. I want to know his opinion, and everybody commenting. I really want to hear your opinion on this. Can Rogic and O'Reilly play in the same team? So, these two they're pretty much the same position. Their A position is number 10, or at the point of the three in the midfield. Yeah. Can either of them play number 8 like Hatate does, or even Kalmak in there? Do you think we can play the two in the same team, or do you think that they're too similar and that they're both playmaking, attacking midfielders, and it should be a choice of one or the other?
I think, as I touched on there, against a Dundee, a St Johnstone, maybe a St Mirren at Parkhead, I think you'll get away with the two of them because we will generally have a lot of the ball, and when we're getting the ball back, we'll probably be higher up the park anyway, so you're not really asking one of them to track back a little bit. I think if it was sort of a trial last night, I think what Ange has found out that against better opposition, that's not going to work. You need legs in the middle of the park, which unfortunately O'Reilly and Rogic, the two of them aren't blessed with pace, although sometimes when you see it, especially Rogic, when you see him taking the ball, nobody seems to be able to get by him and get it off him. But it's just not the type of player they are to actually to be that playing that number 8 sort of up and down the park. So yeah, I don't think it will work, but I could see it working against a sort of lesser opposition when you're at Parkhead, mate.
Yeah, good point. So Stephen, what do you think? Because I think it's an interesting one. I really think they're both so similar in the fact that they're playing that position, and they're both like playmaking types. I think for me, O'Reilly's much better at finding that killer pass and stuff, but I think Rogic is indispensable when it comes to trying to keep hold of the ball, and he can carry the ball and he takes it in tight spaces, and he doesn't mind being players. But I just feel like, I don't know, can the two of them play in the same team?
Well, I mean, before I come on to my opinion, I want to get involved in the comments. Obviously, William, you can't see them, so I'm your right-hand man with these comments that fly up on the screen. I mean, Jed Thomas makes a great point. Rodzic is shocking to track him back. I've always said that it's like playing with 10 men when you try that system. James Heslop comes in and says, no, it's got to be one or the other. I agree. Ian McIntosh has said some people getting ahead of themselves talking about winning the tournament. I remember you said, William, we'll have a chance to win that tournament.
We're not yet.
By the way, I've got 2 flights to Albania if anybody wants.
And then cooking with Chef Dal, they could play together, but then again, you'd be asking one of them to play a style that is unfamiliar, and that seems to be the type of trend that we're going with in the comments. And I think what the plan was from Postecoglou in his head, he thought we were going to dominate the ball. You've got 2 creative midfielders in there, the ping balls in behind from Mieta. One can find one on the left, one can find on the right. It didn't quite work out like that. You've seen their weaknesses. I think what Francis said is 100% right, where you can play them in the SPFL against a Dundee, against a St Mirren, especially at home, big wide pitch. We're going to get space all day eventually when the word team's down. But in European football, it doesn't work. O'Reilly and Rodzic, as Francis said, aren't the quickest players. They're both fantastically technical. They can do things you go wow at. But it's one or the other for me, much like Turnbull. I feel sorry for Turnbull coming back into the squad because I'm struggling to see where he fits in. I really am. But since O'Reilly's joined us, William, this is one I want to bounce back to you and get your opinion on this. I think personally he's been better than Rodzic since he's joined. What do you think?
It's a tough one because, like I said,
I'm leaving my day to this one.
as much as I said they are similar, like I said, they've got certain characteristics that are different. Whereas I think Rogic is a carrier; he can carry the ball. And what's this? Oh, the Boise bus is on. How we doing, mate?
Well, evening, Russell. Evening.
But I think O'Reilly's his range of passing and the way he can find a player is unbelievable. And I think the likes of Maeda are going to thrive with him in this team. I think you're going to hear a lot of commentators saying O'Reilly over the top, Maeda's on the end of it, goal, because I just think he can find you with a pass. But I don't know. For me, I don't think you can play the both of them in the same team. I just feel like we need a number 6 there, which Kalmak is doing, but Beaton can quite happily come in as well. And Kalmak can also play the number 8, but we've got Hatate there. I mean, I know you say you make a good point about Turnbull. Is he a number 10? Is he a number 8? I don't think he's got the engine to get up and down the park, is he?
No.
Turnbull, for me. But I just feel like there's a lot of options there. And maybe in Europe, Beaton's the way to go. And let the other guys do their thing. But I don't know. For me, I don't know if they can play in the same team. But it's a lovely, lovely option to have. 6 weeks ago, we were sitting and we were playing Montgomery, Abada, and Juranovic as a front three. Now we've got all these options, and for me, I'm not so sure that Ange got it wrong as such. I just think it was a poor performance, and Bodo turned up, which I'm going to go on to next. You know, Stephen looks like he was going to say something.
I was about to say something there, William.
Go on.
I mean, you can say you don't think Ange got it wrong, and that's fair enough. I just think we got found out by a footballing team that, as Francis said, I don't know if it was offer or honour. We're kind of aiming to be like Bodo Glimt, the kind of underdog in Europe to pull off results, and they played a very similar style to us. They had it on point, and I referenced their coach. He's been lauded around Europe. If you read up on him, he's fantastic, much like Postecoglou was in Australia and Japan. The way they played, the way they press, all the players are 6'2" plus, big athletic guys, Scandinavian football players. The left back, I don't know if you've seen him. William had an eye on him. He was absolutely fantastic. And me being a wee stat nerd, sometimes I went and seen where they signed him. They signed him on a free transfer from a team that got relegated from the Norwegian League.
Literally last month as well.
Yeah, literally. And we go, is there better options than, again, not pigeonholing Greg Taylor here, but he looked head and shoulders above Greg Taylor. He had the pace, the athleticism, and I think that's what Ange wants all around his squad. That's fair enough, but to leave, as I said before, Hatate, he's probably the most athletic player in the midfield. When you take out McGregor, he would be that guy. He could offer you an engine, someone to play a killer pass, and I know he gave the ball away and led to their third goal, which, again, it was just kind of summed up our night. We all said that in the group chat at that point. But you can say Anne's got it wrong. It's not a bad thing to say. I don't understand.
Totally. Listen, I would be the first to say that, but I feel like it's harsh to say that because I don't think that he's only made 2 changes. It was only 2 changes he made, and like they're more than capable subs, if you want to put it that way. I feel like Bodo played well, and we played nowhere near our capabilities. It was easily Jota's worst performance in a Celtic jersey.
Yeah,
I thought Juranovic was poor as well.
Yeah, Juranovic, he eventually got one great ball in, but I feel like he swung about 10 crosses in before that and didn't beat the first man. Abada, you wouldn't even have known Abada was playing the first half. So, like, as much as we can, like, and I'm all for if I feel like Andrew's should get criticised, I would criticise him. But he can only do so much. And these guys that have been flying for so many weeks didn't turn up last night. And I think if they did turn up, we would have gave them more of a game. So that's just what I'm saying from it. Not so much like punting Ange. It's no like me, like, oh, let's love Ange and no slate him. It's, for me, it was a team performance last night that failed us, not so much the personnel or the tactics. But that's going to bring me on to my next point that I'd like to
say. I totally agree with what you said there, Will, but like how fickle a football fan they were, because can you imagine if that was Lennon in charge last night? I know. Would absolutely be slating him.
We said that in the group chat. He said that if he's putting that team out, we're all sitting going, why is Hatate no playing? He's been flying. But I mean, that's the same. It's the same as back in the noughties, isn't it? When like Thompson lost the ball, why are you playing it? As soon as Larson lost the ball, lucky son, unlucky. Sorry. You know what I mean? It's one of them.
That's where we're answering.
Well, that's what. So what my point there is what I'm making, and I want your thoughts on it. Is, I mean, was this coming? I mean, we say we've been flying recently. I was looking back and I thought we've been absolutely blowing people away, which we have. But I mean, there's been a few games in there. The Hearts game popped up, and a missed penalty meant that we won the game, and that was tough going. And Hearts looked good in the counter, well. and then Aberdeen was a tough. I mean, we without Jota that night saving us, and then I'm not so sure about the Wraith Rovers. Everybody's talking about how bad a performance it is, but we came away winning 4-0, and I know it's a lower league team, but if you come away winning 4-0, for me, it's not a bad performance. But Stephen, have we been riding the train a bit too much and getting a bit overexcited? Has this result been coming, do you think, or do you think it was just a poor performance on the night?
I mean, again, before getting followed, I want to get the comments back up here. Potterhead, Harry Potter fan, I'm guessing. Every player was over 6 foot. Kenny, their left back, looked really good. Ian McIntosh, you should try and sign the left back. I think they're all agreeing with that. And then I'm not going to pronounce this name because I'll just embarrass myself. It's been coming for weeks. And in terms of
shooting for a pass back, was that not
we've been flying in domestic football. I don't know if it's 25 domestic games unbeaten or was that all competition, but it was something like that. That's the kind of run we're on. We've been flying. We've been absolutely mauling teams. Go back to the Derby game, destroying them. Top of the league. Everyone said Postecoglou. It would take 6 months to a year, 2 years, 50 transfer windows, 10 millenniums, all this kind of thing. But he's done a great job so far. The only issue I have is it's the same old story in European football. This is the third tier. Let's be stark about this. This is the third tier, literally called the Conference League of European football. And Celtic seem to be struggling. Bodo Glimt have a wage bill equal of Aberdeen, equal of Hearts and Hibs. So they're not fantastically rich. They're not
argument.
They're not an oil, like, do you know what I mean? You get these teams from Kazakhstan with all these money. But look, we should be doing far better in Europe. We've not won a European knockout tie since 2004. I get what Francis is saying. I get what Francis is saying. But we all say Celtic are a big European. We all say Celtic are a big European club. When in fact, reality is we're probably not no more. We're a Champions League club. Every fan says it. But we haven't performed well in the Champions League in years. We got knocked out of the Europa League, Conference League. You get Bodo Glimt. You expect a decent result. They turn us over because they play far better football. They're probably 2 or 3 years ahead of us. I agree with you, Francis, in terms of where we need to be. But we can't just keep walking around with a cloud over our head being like, SPFL, yes, it's their bread and butter, but we need to make our mark in European football. I don't understand why people find that hard to take. It's Celtic Football Club. We shouldn't be accepting Conference League, and you're saying pish arguments, but every argument has an opinion.
No,
I've got an opinion, and that's just mine.
I think the financial one's a pish argument, because then you could throw Livingston in there. When was the last time you beat Livingston and look at their wage budget?
Doesn't really count. That's in the league, man. It's just European football. It's European football.
But you bring up the financial side there. The financial side, I think, is a shite argument.
I'm pointing merely out the fact that they're not light years ahead of us. We should be further than them in reality in terms of finance, but we're not.
Yeah,
they turned us over.
I don't think
3-1.
Finances are.
It effectively probably could. It effectively could have been more because they opened us up on so many occasions.
I understand what you're saying, Stephen. You do make a few good points, but remember, we're still. It's early doors. We were in the summer. We were talking about how there's turnover in a team and how he's going to have to bring in so many players means it could take a couple of seasons or 2 or 3 seasons. Do you not think we're further ahead than we should be or as planned? I mean well, it's not a very great point to be fair because that Bodo team on the match they lost 2 key players, brought a guy in and he was man of the match, but. But no, Franny, you disagreed with quite a few things you said. Stephen said there. What's your thoughts?
Well, I 100% agree. It should be aiming higher in Europe, but I think in the past, I think Europe has seen a wee bit as a bonus for Celtic. It's been like a mentality that we're in Europe, so I'm not saying we're there to make up the numbers, but I think certain parts of Celtic Football Club are just happy to be in Europe.
I think that's a fair point. Since like O'Neill and Strachan, and I think that's a fair point.
So I 100% agree with Stephen saying, regardless, we should be aiming to do better. I didn't like when folks start bringing up the financial thing because teams can, regardless of your financial backing, teams can beat you. Livingston show that was we just can't seem to beat them when it comes to them. So I think it's a bit of a lazy argument bringing up finances saying or financially we're better and stuff. But no, I just thought it was a wee bit of an off night for us. Was that coming? It potentially was. I wouldn't say I seen it coming, but when you touch on the Hearts game and the Aberdeen game, it maybe was coming in the sense that once we came up against a better opposition, if we were a wee bit off it, they were going to do what we done. The third goal last night, it was just it was a really unlucky goal. But when you look at it in kind of isolation, you're always say you're most vulnerable after sort of 5-10 minutes after conceding a goal, and we were I think it was a minute or something straight after it, and when you actually see it, the defending, we just looked all over the place at one point with the defending for it. But I just feel I thought a lot of key players never turned up last night, and it was, I don't know, maybe it was a once you came up against a better opposition like a Bodo Glimt, something like that was going to happen.
I agree, aye. Aye, Franny is saying that. Definitely. We all say it most weeks. No, I'm glad you talked about defence, because I want to talk about that a bit as well, because I feel like the way Ange's style is, and I feel like we have been very solid defensively recently, and I think it's because we have been defending from the front and the press, obviously. But I feel like our kryptonite, if you like, is just getting beat on the counter, and I think that showed last night again, and I think it will show when we come up against better teams. What do you think, Stephen? Do you think the way we play, it's just Ange's style and that's it? We're just susceptible to the counter-attack? Or, I mean, like I say, I think we've been looking solid recently, but last night the defence was pretty poor. Every individual in there, to be fair, didn't have a great game, did they?
I mean, again, the style's not going to change. Postecoglou's been firm on his stance in that, and I don't want it to change. I'm not saying he has to tweak or change anything. I agree with Franny on the most part that the star player, so to speak, didn't turn up, and that's fair enough. And again, the comments, I mean, Craven called me out. Remember the starting point, Steve? I totally agree with that. Ange knows Scottish football isn't flat. He's trying to build the European type squad. I agree with all that. But at the end of the day, like the defence, you look at it in isolation. Juranovic, Croatian international, Carter Vickers, American international, Starfelt, Swedish, Taylor was representing his national team. But what happened again was it just seemed a lack of communication. I don't think Joe Hart really done himself any justice. I thought they were holding on to the ball far too long back there. It was just tippy-tappy football. At some points of the game, Starfelt and Carter Vickers were walking, and we're trying to get back into the game, and you're going, right, I know like we're trying to pass and build up, but the way Bodo Glimt done it, it was 2 free, quick, sharp passes. They're in behind us, and they're creating opportunities. And that's the way we've been seeing Celtic play for the last 3 or 4 games. And it totally slipped on the night, on the big European night. We were up for it. We were not saying we're not ready for it, but on the evidence of what we've seen there, the team was as a unit wasn't good enough. And I know Ange is trying to build, and he said afterwards this is all part of the process and the revolution that he's trying to build. And again, I agree. I love the way he speaks. I love the way he tries to protect the team. But there's some parts of that team that I personally don't think are good enough. I look at left back. I think we need maybe a potential another centre half. I'm not saying the Starfelt or Vickers aren't good, but we need competition there. Julian's not quite there yet in terms of fitness. Welsh is still young. We still need better options in some areas of the pitch.
I agree. Yeah. Franny, what about you? I mean, like I say, I feel like we're susceptible to the counter-attack, but I don't think that's going to change. Do you think the likes of Beaton coming in to kind of shield that back four is a better option, or what do you think of the back line? I mean, we have been critical of Starfelt at times, and I thought the kind of bomb scare Starfelt came back last night, and both fullbacks didn't have a great game. Do you agree with Stephen that we need strengthening in there, and with a counter attack? Do you think there's anything we can do with regards to Ange's style to stop that happening, or is it just you score 3, we'll try and score 4?
I think that's Ange's style, and I suppose you've got to respect the man for sticking to his guns, so to speak, and things like that. But yeah, it was, for me, I think pace was shown a wee bit yesterday and stuff, and like I say, the defence wasn't great. You made a good point until you pointed that out about Juranovic for the second goal. I'd never know. He actually had his hand up for offside, and the boy had almost cut the ball back, and you're like, and then the boy had the freedom of parkhead just to pick his spot. Taylor, I thought he got skint a wee bit. I thought, and maybe it wasn't as much to blame as, in my opinion, as a lot of it. He got absolutely done it. I feel his sort of positioning wasn't great. He could have probably shot the boy down the line better, but it was just one of them. Like, I had been warming to Taylor. If Celtic went and signed a left back that was a lot, Scottish said super a lot, but if they went and signed a left back, I wouldn't be disappointed. But at the same time, I'm not got to sit and badger Taylor because he started to prove me wrong. Certainly domestically, anyway, he's not really put a foot wrong since he came into the team. So, and I think Ange is wanting to give these guys a try, guys that are clearly putting in the effort, because when Taylor was sort of had a bit of a stop-start season with injuries and stuff, so he probably wasn't getting coached in the new system with this inverted sort of a fullback. So it's also a new system for him. Starfelt and Carter Vickers, I thought Carter Vickers was okay yesterday. Starfelt, I thought a wee bit of the bomb scares came back, but it was like when Stephen said, obviously, Bodo Glimt were playing 2 free passes and it was away. I think Bodo Glimt sort of they set up really well against us. And if you look at especially the Rangers game, was like I think we probably could all admit it was one of the best performances, maybe arguably the best performance this season. It was 2 free passes in the middle of the park, and then it was straight out to Jota and Abada. They just hugged that touchline and had hundreds of space, whereas Bodo Glimt seemed to shut that down well yesterday. And I think that's where we struggled a wee bit to try and get up the park at times.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with you, mate. I think we're all in agreement that Bodo showed up and we didn't. And to be fair, I thought with the third goal's unfortunate. 2-1, we're bang right in the tie, and that deflection's kind of deflated us a wee bit, which is unfortunate. Right, I'm going to go on. I feel like it's been a wee bit negative. I'm going to go on and I forget the name that came up there, Stephen. He was talking about disagreeing a wee bit with Alistair, which I've got to agree with. O'Reilly in the first half, I thought was excellent. Who was it? Kenny. Evening, mate. I thought O'Reilly looked great in the first half. I agree he did follow the second half. For me, I thought Kalmak was super. I think the captain's performance as usual, leading by example. But Kenny, when you're talking about the tension in the crowd last night, we weren't actually there in the us three, but Tony, who's another contributor, he was. Cheers, Boise. He was at the game last night, and he actually said the same thing. I mean, one or two things aren't coming off, and the crowd were getting on the team, which frustrates me a wee bit because I think we're in such a good position now for where we were last year, and I just think for one poor performance out of the last however many weeks, we're unbeaten in like 18 weeks or something like that, and I know the expectations are high, but I feel like sometimes that can get to the players. But positives for me, Kalmak I thought was excellent, and I really want to touch on Maeda tonight because I think since he's come in now, all the signings, he's kind of, well, apart from Gucci, but he's not featured. He's kind of went below the radar a wee bit, and people are a bit unsure, and they've kind of said he's not his quality and stuff. But I don't think we've seen anywhere near the finished article that we're going to see Maeda. I think his pressing is superb, his pace is unreal, and to be fair, every game he's came in and played, and he's not playing 90 minutes like most games. He's coming on here, there, or whatever. Even when he's not playing well, he's nabbing a goal. He's scoring goals, and it's not just one type of goal. He's getting in there. He's scoring headers. That was a great goal last night. He scored. Yeah. What a ball for your It was a great header. And it's different types of goals, and obviously he's getting used out in the left and in the middle. It was really good to see the 4-4-2 last night, and he was up in front of the big man as well, old school. Stephen, what do you think? What positives? Have you got any of the players last night you thought had decent performances? And I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on Maeda, especially because I do think we've got a wee gem here, and I think we've got a lot more to see from him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring comments again. Michael said that there was an arrogance about them in terms of Celtic treating them lightly. Gio Patrick, our defence does okay domestically. I really agree with that one, Gio. I think that's well said. The Boise boss, Williams, doing well behind the wheel. That he is. He's doing fantastic. Jed Thomas, fuck it, we'll beat Dundee 5-0. Yeah. James, do you think we could do a little more height in some positions? Again, that brings you on to me.
That's a really good point because like at the back, I think like centre half and stuff like that. But everywhere else in the park, apart from obviously Big Giacomakis, but there's not much height in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Maeda, I think a lot of fans have been quite sceptical because he hasn't hit the heights. I mean, this guy scored 23 goals in the J League. He's come off a full season, hasn't done his normal pre-season in Japan. He's went on international duty, came back, played 30 minutes in a derby game, and ever since then he's been non-stop. He's got 4 goals in 7 games for Celtic, which is a decent return for a striker. And he's been played out. He's been played out in the left in some games. I think he finished on the left last night. Jala was on the right with Giacomakis in the middle. So I think he will come good. I've seen a lot of Japanese football experts, the football experts, and they say that he's nowhere near. He's nowhere near where he's meant to be, and I can see what he wants to do. He made some fantastic runs last night, but he wasn't found. He was always trying to get round, bend his runs, run direct and go at players, and I know he tried that Folly in the first half and he just totally mishit it, but he keeps coming back for more, and that's what you like to see. He doesn't hide. And I think there's a player in Uruguay as well. I think Uruguay looks tough. He looks like he wants to get stuck in. when he came on against Rafe Rovers, he got stuck in. He got in and around the midfield area, and I think he'll be another excellent addition. You said, did you mention Giamakis as well? Who was it you wanted me to talk about? Sorry.
Just the positive.
The positives.
Positives. I know it's hard for you, mate. I know you like to be negative, Nelly.
Hey.
The Arsenal fan TV, Stephen.
That would be, if you were a darts player, that would be your name, Stephen Arsenal TV Tomlinson. Just on the stage going mental.
I think positives again. Fuck, what could be? Kalmack again. Captain's performance. The guy has managed to find another level in a face mask. Gio Patrick, made as a superstar. We got that in play. He needs more service. I totally agree. The goal he got, he runs across the defender, bang, header, love it. Other performances, O'Reilly in the first half, I agree, tailed off. I mean, that's you're picking from slim pickings here, William. I mean, the team as a whole, we're absolutely dust. They weren't on it, to be honest. Bodo Glimt dominated us from start to finish. If we're being true about it here, I get what you're saying. Individuals, Kalmack and O'Reilly are probably the only bright sparks I can take away from that game.
Yeah, true, mate. I do agree with you, to be fair. I thought it was a poor performance. Fanny, what about you? You need to shed some positivity on it. Stephen's going to help me out.
I'm the same as you.
Hold on, there's some positivity for Jed. He's bang on.
Aye.
Yeah.
No, you will learn for things like that last night, because it's just you're up against a team that were probably more drilled than we are and where we want to be. So it's just, it shows where we want to get to. And I felt O'Reilly was really good the first half. Kalmack was a good for the 90 minutes again. But yeah, I thought there was too many sort of 5 out of 6 out of 10s last night was a problem. It's just you struggle when you've got that.
Yeah,
and I thought Maeda, when you did look at him, he was making really good, intelligent runs. And I thought it was 5 and 8, but I think it is actually 4 and 7. Stephen's got, which regardless, either way, it's still a good return for a guy that it seems to be a big part of our fan base is writing off straight off the bat. Guys only on the door 2 minutes and stuff. And I mean, like you said, he's played a full campaign in Japan. I think he played in the Olympics as well. And just recently he's went and flew over, and don't know how much he featured in the 3 games, but it's a lot of travelling he done. And so the guys know had a break and stuff. So I think we'll see the best of Maeda next season, probably.
It's bonkers because see that point you make, and I know like stats are a big thing for most people.
Yeah.
Has Giamakis got 4 and 7?
He's pretty good as well, I think, mate.
So everybody's ranting and talking about how Giamakis has been wonderful for us the last 6 weeks. Stats wise, Maeda's got just as many goals. So why is he getting the flack?
I think his problem is he's getting compared to Kyogo. I don't.
That's a great point. Mate.
I know.
Superb point. I feel like he does sometimes. I feel like he's much better when he is getting the ball and he's just shifting it and then getting a pass in or getting a shot away. He is. That's a very good point.
A wee bit of me felt like he was trying to be the main man at times last night, and it just wasn't coming up. Because you look at especially the Alloa and the Rafe Rovers game, I thought Jota showed him total respect and just turned in a really professional performance. He wasn't trying to be the main man. Knew he was too good for him, but wasn't trying to be the main man. Was doing everything he normally does. Whereas last night, I don't know if he was trying to force this, or try to show, because it was a bigger stage, and show what he was all about and stuff.
Yeah. Gio Patrick, this is what I'm talking about. The power of positivity. How exciting what's happened this season. In light of last year's situation, we are going to be a side to talk about for years. I totally agree. It's been kind of a bit down the night because of last night's result, but the football we've been playing this year is some of the best I've ever seen at Celtic Park. So.
William, sorry, I wouldn't say it's been down. I think it's calling out the obvious. I think it's not pissing on Celtic. It's just we play crap. To be fair, that's it.
Well, yeah,
I'll happily do this type of podcast every 20 odd games or something. If we've got one bad performance every 20 games, bring it on.
Right, let's see the positivity has got to continue. I'm not sure it will.
That's a great point. I agree with that.
Right, well, okay. Let's see.
That's a bit of positivity.
Like I say, I'm not sure this positivity is going to continue. Stephen, we still in this tie?
Right, lads, that's me. No, he's joking. I mean, if you look at it, 3-1, the away goals rule doesn't count. That's great. go over there, but Arctic Circle, I believe they're close to. The weather could be like -10. They play on the famous plastic pitch as Livingston do, Francis.
Well.
Your favourite team, they're playing yellow. David Martindale's going to be caretaker manager. I think if we get an early goal, William, we could, if the team pulls together, we could possibly do something in the tie, force extra time maybe, and then take it from there. Could we see Kyogo back? We've seen footage of him on the side of the pitch doing his usual high fives, which is fantastic to see him back. Hopefully he's going to be back around the team again. I hope he starts at Tate the next tie. I mean, this is if he wants to take the competition serious. I know he said he's in it to win it, but again, could that be lip service to the fans in terms of European competition and his bread and butter's a league? I wouldn't blame him either way. For me, it's a European competition that I think Celtic should have eyes on. Let's be fair. The teams in it were about Celtic's level. I would hope we could go over to Norway and at least get a win. Don't know about staying in the tie and getting through, but just get a win. We better pride back in ourselves.
Fanny, what about you? Think we're still in it?
I think it's like Stephen. It's that whole cliche. First goal's got to make got to make a break, and I think if we get an early goal, all the better. But I think obviously we do need to score first. I think to more for the players to have belief that they can get something from it. So if we got to half time 1-0 up, I think the players would really have a lot of belief going into the second half, because that away goal doesn't count. That we could probably go and get another goal, but I do believe, like Stephen, as a competition, we should be aiming to try and progress. And I don't believe Postecoglou is at his lip service. He's a born winner. I think he's shown that.
I'm saying
to win it. No, but that's what I'm saying. I don't think it is lip service. I think what he says he means at the end of the day. I don't think he's lied. What's Jed saying? I'm sorry. At least we'll still be in Europe, Jed. That's the main thing at the end of the day.
There's a few chanters. We might get better chance than Britain winning that, to be fair.
We'll probably get more than 0-0.
I totally agree with it. We need an early goal, and we never played anywhere near our capabilities last night. So
I think we've scored down the time we've went away from home in Europe as well, haven't we? So
definitely. This unfortunate deflection, I think, might be the make or break of the tie. You know, it's like if it's 2-1, we're super confident he's going there and still be doing something. That 3-1 might be just out of reach. But I definitely think we can go and do it. There's a few points, by the way, cooking with so-and-so again. I apologise, but I can't remember. And he was talking about how I think the league's the bread and butter and we need to, it's detrimental. Listen, I hear what you're saying, but for me, I think we've got a squad big enough and capable enough to compete on all fronts. So I don't think we should be looking at that. I mean, we've been saying ourselves, we've got 2 or 3 in each position. I don't think we should. I think we should be still going and trying and winning every competition. And I think Ange's got the same mentality. I don't think he'll give it up. And I hope to God the squad don't. I hope we go over there and we give it a good go at least. So, positives, We're going to go there and win.
Just what I say as well. Thanks to the Michael there. He said he was due to watch the Ferdinand and Party Thistle game, but it's been cancelled. He was looking around for some football stuff. He's never seen our pod before, and he thinks we're good. So thanks, Michael, for that. We really appreciate that.
Really appreciate that. Send you a tenner.
Right, so back to domestics. This weekend on Sunday, we've got Dundee, who obviously just had a wee change of manager. Bit of a strange one. You go and beat Hearts in the league and then get through to the quarterfinals of the cup and then you get the sack. That's football nowadays.
And it's the fact that Mark McGee,
And it's a strange appointment. I think he came down for upstairs, isn't he? Was he part of the...
I think so. I think it was...
So, enjoy Jed. Have a nice weekend, mate. So, I mean, they've not been going great guns this year. They're obviously in a bit of a relegation battle. Appreciate that, Ian, mate. Really appreciate it.
Positivity!
Stephen, how do you think we'll go on Sunday? Do you think they'll make changes again? Do you think we'll see the likes of Hatate back in the squad? Or in the
it's at home, isn't it? I'm right in saying it. I'm right in saying it.
Home,
aye. Dundee, they brought in Mark McGee and a guy from Stockport County. They're under 23s. I think he was with Brighton previously to that. So
it's such don't know, man. It's unbelievable. You should work for Sky Sports. It's unbelievable.
you don't know, obviously, what type of management team they'll bring. Mark McGee was an absolute wild card appointment. I didn't even think he'd be considered going to Dundee. I think, do you remember that there footage of him in the Aberdeen crowd? giving it stacks to the supporters.
That's
sort of.
When was it Motherwell or something? They got sent off.
Aye, Motherwell.
About 3 rows back or something.
My favourite one with him was did he not do the Sky Sports commentary of the Scotland game when he was like, Scotland have been getting battered, and he was going, and then he went, let's go.
It's so underwhelming.
Scotland have scored, and you're like, why are you not jumping on going crazy? Let's go.
But I mean, I think we'll see changes. I think we'll potentially see Scales come in for Taylor. Again, it's not pigeonholing Taylor. He got rinsed, and I think Scales has looked. I
feel like Taylor. No, I'm going to just quickly. I totally agree, and I hear
you're the host. I
feel like I know. Shut up, it's my team, right? I think Scalesy he's so much better going forward. I'm calling him Scalesy as if he's my mate, and I know him, but Scalesy going forward is I just think, and especially in Europe, I think he goes with Taylor because I think he is more solid defensively. Saying that, he didn't prove that last night. But no, listen, I am a big Scales fan. I think I think we've got a player in our hands here, and every time he's played, he's been absolutely superb. I would have no qualms about him going into the starting lineup.
Aye, and I think we'll see Hatate come back in, potentially Rodzik back on the bench. I've seen people say Beaton to come in. Again, I don't see what that could offer the home game. I think we'll stick with Calmack in there in the number 6 position.
Right, give your 11 then. Just give me your full 11.
No. I'm giving you what I think the game will come on to. I think we'll have to come out and show again what we can do, because there'll be a lot of people going, is the wheels coming off? No, that type of skepticism that we need to put to bed really quick. Mm-hmm. I think Dundee are there for the taking. Change the manager, probably change the system, change the training regimes. James McPake, he was an old player there. He was friends with Charlie Adam and things, so you don't know what their relationships are like within the camp at the minute. I think that Dundee are always there for a taking. I'm confident, William, that we can win and win easily.
Good. So you're not giving us your 11 then, no?
Oh, do you want me to give it now?
Yeah,
all right, okay.
But Bhoys is going to miss his own bus.
I'll go for Joe Hart, Juranovic, Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Scales, McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly, Abada. I'll go Giamakis, and I'll go Jada.
Okay. Score?
4-0.
4-0. Easy.
Oh,
4-0.
And Alistair makes a great point. He has a 6-game match ban to do.
You're joking.
From a previous management job. I think it was Motherwell. Probably that footage.
What about 6 games left to see?
He's got a 6-game match ban.
That's mental.
Ronnie, how do you think it's going to play out? Do you think like Hatate and that are going to come back in and give your 11 and your score prediction?
Yeah, I think it'll be. I feel sure. I mean, this is a team we turned over 6-0 earlier on the season, where we all agreed they weren't in a better place we're in a lot better place at this time. So I'm not saying it's going to be another 6-0 or more, but I think it'll be a fairly comfortable afternoon. And my start, I agree. I think Joe Hart obviously will be number one. I think Ralston may come back in. I don't know. No, I think it'll. I don't know, because obviously Juranovic. I think Juranovic will play over in Bodo. So I think he'll want to make changes, but probably not. And I'm going to stick with Juranovic at right back. Carter Vickers and Starfelt, and I agree. I think Scales may come in, and I think it'll be maybe just a trial to see how he plays, and if he can, I think he might then go on at Bodo as well. I think Beaton might come in for Callum McGregor, just simply because I think he's good enough for against Dundee. Beaton's been brilliant for us lately, and it gives McGregor that rest on his face. It's an unnecessary risk. I think Hatate and probably Rogic will play. And then I think we'll have a front three of, I think Abada will play, and Giacomakis and Jota will be the front three.
And score, I think we'll pump them.
I think it'll be about 4 as well, like what Stephen said. I think they will try to just, like Stephen said, there is obviously got to be elements of support thinking it's doomsday after Thursday. But
do you think Ange is going to just put a rocket up there and say you need to perform the night after being so shocking on Thursday?
I hope so.
I think so, and I think he'll just want them to send a message out just to say it was a blip, so to speak, type idea.
Fingers crossed. Like we say, the league's the bread and butter, so we need to keep the train rolling on there.
Can I just say, William, before you move on, Strange Love the Doctor comes in. I see him in all sorts of Celtic streams, so it's good to have you on. He says all the problems we had against Bodo coincide with elsewhere due to Tom Rossie's lack of recovery speed, but even that is a moot point when your top 3 attackers play so wastefully in and around the box. So
Absolutely spot on, mate. Absolutely spot on. You could maybe get on the podcast. You should be on, by the way.
That was great analysis.
Right, that's all.
That's comments all against Stephen.
Back. I'm not so sure we've actually done. Have we done a quiz since we've been live yet?
No.
Stephen's slacking.
Live. And Franny will be delighted to hear it's the comeback of the squad number quiz.
Oh, come on. Squad numbers?
Squad numbers. Yeah. I'm going to give you.
Well, Stephen, clearly you didn't watch the one that Willie done the last time because you had to start making up questions. You had to start making up ones.
Franny and Amy Canavan was on as a guest and she was just as bad. It was awful. It's a bad Amy Canavan's super guest, but terrible at the squad number quiz. I've got to say it. It's a bad day when Willie's sitting going, I actually need to make up more squad numbers here. I know. So I'm going to shout out Celtic players past and possibly present.
I'm watching Stephen's eyes so he doesn't go to the comments.
I know, you can't be looking at
I've turned the comments off.
And I want you just want, I need you to shout out what their squad number was or is. All good to go?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
The first one is James Forrest.
49.
46. Oh, that's 49.
1-0, Stephen.
Dide's 46, man.
Bobo Baldi.
6. 5. 5. No, 6. 6.
No, I'm not giving you that.
5 then.
Oh no, I said 6 first.
No,
what?
But then you went, 5. Listen,
come on, man.
Barry Robson.
11.
16.
Nah, both wrong. 19.
What? Oh. What's the score?
1-0, you.
Oh, come on.
Odson Edward.
22.
22. Me.
1 each. No, 1 each.
What?
1 each.
Are you winding me up? Are you serious right now?
Ross in disguise. Ross in disguise.
Are you serious?
Right, next one.
Come on.
Mark Wilson.
2.
Right, no, it's not 2, Stephen. It's on you.
I think I know that. Look at Stephen trying to smile, look at his phone and
4.
No.
Was it not 13?
Right, 1 minute ago. No, it was 12.
I'm
going to come up with ones again. Aidan McGady.
46.
Oh, that was Franny again. No, it's Franny
Oh
again.
my God, are you shitting me? Are you serious? Are you serious?
When you watch this back, you'll be devastated.
Franny? No. Franny, that was me.
No, 100% Franny. Wait till you watch it back. Now you know how Ross feels.
Mate, are you... Oh.
The next one, Ryan Christie.
19.
18.
No, 17. Fucking hell, guys. These are shocking. These are meant to be well-respected podcasters. This is an absolute disgrace. Paddy McCourt.
20.
Oh, fuck.
20. And Franny takes it. 3-1.
William, that was an absolute farcical. I said McGeady first and Odson. No chance. I'm not accepting that. The Franny first leg. Shambles.
Oh, thanks very much, boys. I actually enjoyed
Here,
that.
no. Strange Love, the doctor comes in. Cheat. Absolute cheat.
All right, okay.
Ian McIntosh.
Slide into the DMs.
I know.
Can we all say, did I win that? Did I say it first? Because I want an absolute survey going on right now because I feel I was done out. I can also say Michael, who came in with that point earlier about missing the football, he's a Razors fan, so we're reading the comments and he's respectful towards other clubs and his main rival Celtic. So you're welcome aboard anytime, Michael. Welcome aboard.
By the way, some result last night as well. I've got to admit it was a great result for the Rangers last night, so fair play.
It wasn't, but if you ask John, it wasn't their foot team.
I know. Stephen's not happy at all. Listen, guys, thanks very much.
Jim, come on, man.
Well, watch it back. Listen, you didn't. None of you deserve to win it anyway. You were both shocking. So,
I'd be more embarrassed if it tried to claim the win, Stephen.
I know. We've got loads and loads of stuff coming up. We've got spin-offs coming again. Thank you so much for us going live and you guys making the comments. It's made this for here to here. It's unbelievable. We really appreciate all your input. I love the fact that you're all getting involved and we hope this is a place to. I mean, it's been positive. It's been really, really happy place in there, but you've got to vent a wee bit tonight. I think Tony's got. Are you going to get up?
Not a chance. I become. Oh,
Right.
you have no idea how angry I am right now.
Okay. I noticed. Like Andrew did in the game last night. I think Tony's got a special coming up, which is going to be really interesting. About the finances and stuff like that involved in football, which is I'm really looking forward to. And keep listening every Tuesday and Friday. We're going to be here. Stephen will be back in the host chair next. I'm assuming. Although I think I really appreciate it, guys, and I'm going to say hail, hail, and I'm going to leave the main man to give out the catchphrase to end the show.
Until Tuesday, everybody, stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.